Welcome back, Salty Gamers. Today we are going to be going over WARNO, a new RTS coming out of Eugen Systems. They've brought us games such as the Steel Division series as well as the War Game series. I haven't played the Steel Division series myself, but I hear good things. I primarily play War Game when it comes to real-time strategy games. I've been playing real-time strategy games for quite a while, all the way back to the early 2000s with the Command and Conquer Red Alert series, as well as the World in Conflict game, which I thought was fantastic and really needs to make a comeback. So with this game, from what I hear, it's a good mixture between the War Game series and the Steel Division series. So when I discuss this game, I'm really coming from this from a point of view as someone who's really played War Game. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this is an early access game, so there are a lot of things still being worked out. So the one thing you need to keep in mind when you buy this game is don't judge it purely on what's written under the Steam reviews, because it's still a lot of people chiming in. There is still a lot of fixes that need to be made with unit strengths, adding additional units, and balancing. The one thing I can say, however, is the game itself, when it comes to mechanics and how the game operates and plays, it runs very smoothly. I am currently playing on an Alienware R8 with a RTX 2070 Super and an i7 processor. It runs fine. I also play it on a gaming laptop, an Inspiron Gaming 15 that has an i5 and a GTX 1050 Ti that also runs fine. So it's not a graphically taxing game, but the game itself is overall very stable. I haven't found any issues or any glitches so far. I'm sure some are out there. I just personally haven't encountered them. So first, let's look at the Armory. Now, the interesting part about this game is how it's set up. I've heard it's a little bit more like Steel Division than War Game, but again, I can't comment. Each faction so far, you have the Soviets in the US, and you have the 3rd Armored Division and the 79th GTD Division. I'm not too familiar with that Soviet division, but I believe they're both mechanized divisions. So the way this game is going to work is each nation is going to be given different divisions that have specific units in them. So unlike War Game, you're not going to get a nation where you can create a general deck with every unit available for that nation. You're going to have to stick specifically to what was available in the division at the time. So I'll go ahead and pull up my solo deck for US, and this is a 3rd Armored Division deck, just to go over what we have. So this is how it looks when you have your deck building segments. You're given 50 out of 50 points. That's standard across the board. And then you fill it in as per points. You have your infantry tab, self-explanatory. Your artillery tab, which is going to be your fixed artillery units such as MLRS units, artillery, and mortars. So they did change it from War Game, where you would have a support tab with all the additional stuff. They actually now have a separate AA tab, which is purely for anti-aircraft units, even helicopters. So if you have a helicopter that's specifically like dedicated to AA, and what I meant by is like the DAP in War Game, it would be found here and not in the helicopter tab. The helicopter tab is now for your attack helicopters that are meant for specific offensive actions. Here we have the Rocket Apache, which is a fantastic unit, which has 2 segments here for rockets, and then the 30mm cannon. The Tow Cobra has rockets and missiles as well as a cannon. You can also have the air segment, which is self-explanatory for those who played Eugen, War Game, or Steel Division before. The recon tab, again, this is where you're going to have all your reconnaissance units, including reconnaissance helicopters. So just to pull up a brief overview of a unit, when you look at the card over here, you will have the name of the unit. With recon, you'll have the glasses. It'll give you the type, the quality of the unit. Here's your armor, front, side, rear, top. The 3 weapons that it has. So this has the Bushmaster cannon, the TOW and the M240, which one thing that irritates me is that is actually an M60 image, not an M240. Now, penetration is your armor damage, and then HE is your HE damage. So they changed that from AP to penetration. Obviously, your ranges, your accuracies, your rate of fires, max damage, optics, stealth, etc. Same as before. Up here, you have individual more information, such as what type of weapon it is, the kinetic energy, if it can be shot on the move. This one has to be static. It's guidance by manual. It's high explosive anti-tank. So this one seems to be a lot more detailed, I believe, than the Wargame Red Dragon unit selection. So let's go ahead and go back to the main. Let's see, we're still navigating the UI, so we're going to go ahead and close this. They're still working a lot of changes on AA on tanks, so these stats that you're seeing now aren't going to be 100% accurate by the time you watch this video. Eugen has been trying to put out updates every 2 weeks, whether it be minor patches or even new units and maps coming out. They're working very hard on it. So far, I'm very good. There's a few things that I want to discuss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a skirmish. So I will open up skirmish just to go ahead and show you some of the important aspects of the units that you need to take into consideration when placing them and when actually getting into combat. Now, first things first, there is no CV automatically deployed such as Wargame. So you need to remember to bring a CV. So you always have to put one down. And you even have to put one down here. Now, this guy's just automatically putting units down. And this is the AI. Now, recon. Recon units can be forward deployed now. So as you see this long blue hazy area, you can now put your recon units forward. You can also give, here we'll quick hunt, orders before the start of the match. One important thing to remember is down here, which gives you your engagement rules or your ROE. This is very important, where it says full transports. If you leave that on, this unit will only fire on full transports. So if a BMP comes up that is empty, it will not fire on it. It's very important that you select all units. You can also select never transports, full transports, or all units. The best thing I've found is to be all units. As for its ROE, defensive or offensive or aggressive, passive, basically telling what the unit will do when you just leave it alone so you don't have to micromanage it. I prefer defensive, which means it'll only fire when fired upon. You can put it at aggressive, which it will shoot anything it sees. Here's a helicopter unit, same situation. Now, when it comes to your infantry tab, I've found mech rifles and anything in wheeled to be very strong, because they will get there faster. Now, if you unload at position, it will fast move and unload at the position, as it pretty much says. Now, this CV here, this mech rifles, when I put him here next to these mech rifles, he's actually going to provide a boost, a veterancy boost, to my other units in the area. So it's not just for capping, it will actually provide a veterancy boost. Let's see, I'm going to get a cluster unit just to show. I will get a tank unit just for show. Helicopters will bring a rocket Apache. Now, unfortunately, these always start on the ground. That's something I hope they fix. So just to go ahead and show, we're going to launch the battle. So I have that. Now, I forgot to give my tank an auto move, so it will just sit there.
Waiting for instructions.
Now, quick hunt is the best thing to do because it will fast move while shooting, meaning if it sees a target, it will engage. The problem with fast move is it will completely ignore targets as it continues on. So it will get lit up and shot. Now, when it comes to your MLRS units or your artillery units, you can do fire position, which will allow you to fire in any position possible. Or what's really cool is you can just set it to counter battery. And what this will do is when the AI within the game detects your enemy using an artillery piece, whether it be tube artillery or MLRS, your artillery will automatically pinpoint and shoot back. Now, the important thing to note about this as well is if the artillery piece that your enemy has moves, your artillery piece is only targeting their last known position. So if you're being counter batteried, immediately move your position and you won't have an issue. Now, you'll see that because this drove through Gulf, it captured Gulf and we start getting points. But as soon as it exits, it's going to stop capturing Gulf. Now, with the unit here, you can move your command units around in the sectors and they will still continue to cap. Like if you see here, my MUT CP is going to move around and then it's not changing the cap like in war games. So we'll go ahead and unload this guy at that position. It's just the same. So as soon as he enters, it starts capping, not even out of the truck. So let's move this here. Let's see, is that Rocket Apache? Did it get shot down? I think it did. So our tank, they usually have fire at will or hold fire. They don't have the never transported option. Now, every 60 seconds, you gain more points. It's 260 points every 60 seconds. Now, we've got an MI-24 TV coming up, so I'm going to bring out a Phantom to take care of that, because I didn't bring any AA in this. This was purely just to show you certain units. But here we go. Now, you'll notice it doesn't just immediately deploy. There's traveling time. So it's a couple seconds before anything actually happens. Now, I bought a cluster as well. These right now are incredibly strong. So I'm going to fire position there.
It's too hot here.
And also, you can set this to evac when Winchester or to keep it going around. It's important to not evac when Winchester, so you can have the unit circle, especially when there's separate munitions that are available. A good example of this would be the Thunderbolt that has 4 Mavericks, the 2 AM9s, as well as the GAU and Adventure Cannon. If you were to evac when Winchester, then if it lost all of its tank missiles, it would go back without using its air-to-air missiles. Now, you can see here, my MLRS is automatically counter battery. This red line means it's drawing a direct position to where it estimates the enemy artillery to be. So that was completely automatic. Your F-15C Eagle is your air dominance fighter. We're going to bring this Thunderbolt out just to see. The one thing to consider, this only has 4 missiles. You can turn your weapons on and off. Again, traveling time is slow depending on how fast the aircraft actually travels in real life. They try to base it off of reality. One of the really important factors when it comes to this is micromanaging your units. This is a game where you can't have meat shields or just throw units away. You want to try to minimize all your losses as much as possible. Now, I will say this is a beautiful game when it comes to graphics-wise, so this might get a little loud because I'm going to come right in on the A10.
It's hot here. Move it, open your eye.
I just wanted to show you guys the impact damage, the actual close-up fighting here. I'm sorry if it's a little loud when it comes to the audio. I'm going to try to speak as much as I can. Now, the interesting part is these blocks that you can take over can be destroyed, and then they are no longer inhabitable by infantry troops. So that is to be considered when you're bringing troops in. Now, I want to move this Bradley up. Now, an important thing to consider as well when it comes to recon units. Let me pull out so you can hear me a little bit better. If you hit Alt-C, it will bring up a line of sight tool. And this is not just recon units, but any unit. And it will show you where the unit can and cannot see. See, now, the Monstrelki just got on its line of sight. It will show you where the turret is going, where the unit is facing. If you see those lines going out with range meters here and here, it will see you how far it can go. So that's just a quick overview of how to operate some of the units, a couple of tips and tricks I've found. So far, I'm thoroughly enjoying this game. I find it to be a lot of fun. It's definitely worth a look. It's going to need a lot of quality of life improvements. It's going to require some updates constantly, which Eugen has promised to do. And for now, I say it's definitely worth investing in if you're a huge RTS fan. I can only see this game getting better. Don't let the negative reviews fool you just yet. There is still a lot of work to be done on this game, but right now it is fun. And I'd say get in on it now while it's easy to learn, while there's not a lot of experienced players that will just stomp you into oblivion. So my recommendation on this game, for what it's priced at, I believe right now it's still at $39.99. If you're a big RTS fan, I say go ahead and get it. If you've never played War Game and you've never played Steel Division, I don't know if this should be your first choice, because this is an early access game with a lot of things that are continually changed. I could recommend trying to pick up War Game on the cheap or Steel Division 2, or both. They come up on sale a lot on Steam just to get your feet wet and see what you think of RTSs, especially RTSs coming from Eugen Systems. Overall, I highly recommend it to the hardcore RTS players out there. The graphics are beautiful. The gameplay is fun. The game runs very well when it comes to gameplay mechanics. There only are some minor problems that I've noticed where a unit's not evacuating properly or glitches such as that. But that comes with any game. But the devs are actually really responsive on the Reddit forum. They have constant update posts. They take feedback. They make a lot of changes. They've changed the helicopters because when this game was originally released, there was a lot of issues with helicopters being overpowered. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the game so far. So this could change a week from now, 2 weeks from now. They're promising to release new content as the time goes along. Right now, however, I think it's a fun game. So right now we can see this Hind here is coming in to my unit, so let's go ahead and knock him out. I'm not really paying attention to playing at this point. This is more of just to kind of just to give you a review. We'll bring a Pivads out just to bring him in. Let's see if we can get him. And there it is. So, overall, please, if you've played it, drop some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think you're going to continue to play this game, what you plan to do, if you'd enjoyed it so far, if you think it needs more work, if you think that it's worth it. And I appreciate you guys all stopping by. I know I haven't made a lot of content recently. Life's been a little crazy with going back to college, with the kids, school, work. It's difficult to get content out. But please go over and check me out on twitch.tv/AssaultStrike. I do a lot of streaming over there now more frequently. I'm trying to just stream whenever I play, even if I'm not that interactive, even if it's only a half hour, 1 game, 2 games, just to throw a stream up, just to get your guys' feedback, to try to interact more with my audience. But again, I really appreciate you guys. If you want to go ahead and check me out over there, drop a sub, drop a like on both this and my Twitch streams. So that's going to be it for the day. You guys have a fantastic day. This is AssaultStrike signing off.